We at AVNet Media believe the HP 8760W and 8770w Elitebook Mobil Workstation is so advanced, so high-performing, we believe we have proof that space alien engineers employed at HP designed the HP 8760W and 8770w Elitebook Mobil Workstation using technologies advanced beyond earthly ability. We will disassemble and prove aliens are employed in HP design engineering. And here is an overview of the Elitebook. Left side has the USB 3 ports on it, or the main thing. Here's an exploded view. If you want to stop the video, you can inspect the different parts of the Elitebook to see exactly the overview of how it's assembled. Here's the underside of it. The slider switch on the right will eject the larger panel you see in the lower part of the screen. There's no screws involved holding that on. Here is the panel removed, showing the various parts, the memory, the hard drives, and the other miscellaneous items, the clock battery, and the cable. With the battery removed, notice up at the top, and the drive bay exposed. Here's a scene. The drive on the left lower part is removed. The memory is showing in the middle part of the screen. Here is a diagram pointing out different parts of the Elitebook from the bottom, the drive bays, the memory, the battery removed, the locking dock port. Here's another view of the 8760 with 2 drives in it. Notice that the screws to remove the keyboard are marked with a keyboard icon. I believe there's 3 screws if you look close. In addition, there's another 6 or 7 screws holding on the top panel that are not marked as having the keyboard icon. Here's a close-up view, also showing this icon marked screws that will loosen up the keyboard. Once that is loosened up from the bottom, we're going to flip this over and look at the removal from the top side. Here is the top side with the keyboard installed on it. The keyboard will lift up from the back side toward the hinges first once it's loosened, and then slide that slightly away from you to be able to remove the ribbon cables. And here is a view of the hard drives with the lower panel. Here is the smoking gun that exposed the aliens that are employed at HP. The top screw is a standard Phillips screw that the Earthlings use. The lower screw, however, is a screw that seems to be used only by space aliens, since there is no known screw extractor, at least we've found at AVNet Media. Now back to the keyboard here. There's a larger ribbon cable and a smaller one that needs to be removed. We have used a large pair of tweezers that help to be able to remove that without damaging the cable. The cables are very fragile, so do use caution in removing those. And here's a lower side, a lower view of the keyboard with the two ribbon cables attached. Here's a top view of the machine with the keyboard removed, also now showing that the fan assembly on the left, to upper left, some of the other memory bays to the right, and the tools, removing tools. Here is a view of the lower right side where there's a small round holder that needs to be gently pried up in order to snap the top panel loose. Here's another view of that. There's one of these on the right side and the left side, about an inch away from the end of the machine. Just very carefully pry that up slightly so you can get another tool or so underneath the top panel and then lift it up from the back of the machine. Here is the top panel removed without the lower assembly. The machine is relatively easy to work on. There's no major force necessary to be used like some. Here is the bottom side of the top panel, showing the ribbon cables and the screw holders that you will be needing to loosen up. Here is a view of the DVD assembly that goes in from the right side, the ribbon cables that do get loosened up, removed. Here is a view of the assembly with the top panel removed. There's the DVD on the right. There's the heatsink fan assembly that goes over the top of the video board in the center of the machine, with the heatsink assembly for the processor on the left. Here's a close-up view of the video heatsink assembly. Notice that the screws are numbered so that they are removed and reassembled in a certain order for correct torque. Here's a view of the machine with the video heatsink assembly removed. You can see a gray spot in the middle of the video processor, which is heatsink thermal compound. The processor assembly is still intact. Here on the lower part of the machine is the replacement video board that is going to be replaced into the top slot where the top one is. There's two screws that will need to be removed. Here is a view of the heatsink fan assembly to where it was removed. Please notice that this fan assembly, especially the cooling fins, plug up with the dust. So they will need to be cleaned out thoroughly. In our experience, a brush did not clean them thoroughly. We would recommend compressed air. We had to use about 50 pounds of air in order to blow it out thoroughly from this inside of those fins. It's crucial that those fins are able to be pass air unobstructed. Here's a view of the processor cooling assembly. Here is a little better view. There you can see some dust and dirt debris. However, when we took it off, there was far more dust and dirt causing heat problems here. We blew this out again with compressed air. Here is a view of the heatsink thermal compound that hasn't been wiped off yet, but that's where it's going to go. Again, you can see the dust in there that will need to be cleaned out. Now the top center shows the pass-through of the vents. The vents have been screened with some screening material so as to try to prevent dust. However, it lets a lot of dust through, and we recommend retrofitting a fine mesh screen over the top of this to prevent that dust. Typically, it's going to be the dust that is going to kill major components on this laptop or any laptop. Here we see the bottom panel to where we see a view of the screen over the top center part of the screen. We're going to see a close-up now of showing the coarseness of the holes in the screen. Again, this screen is going to let some dust through, and the dust on this we'll need to watch carefully to prevent that heat buildup. Here we have a side-by-side comparison of the retrofit fine mesh screen that we retrofitted over the top of this vent assembly here. Actually this fine mesh screen we used was actually from a coffee maker, but you can see that how much finer it is, how much more dust it's gonna catch. It's far easier to clean out this screen retrofitted on the outside of the machine than it is disassembling of the machine and risking damage to the ribbon cables and so forth. Here's a view of the heatsink compound that is going to be going over the processor in the left part of the machine at the end of the orange tip of the thermal compound syringe. Here's another view of the heatsink assembly flipped over. It's now, I believe it's been cleaned, and the thermal compound is going to be applied evenly. We applied it with the syringe and then used a toothpick to smooth it out with an even coat, and do this on both sides, the processor side and the heatsink assembly, so that there's no air bubbles left between the item. After that, after the heatsink assembly is put back on there, there will be the screws that are going to be numbered according to the order of the reassembly. And for reassembly of the machine, you'll do the reverse order of this disassembly of the machine. And we are on the hunt for those space aliens at HP in their engineering department. We know they're in the engineering department, but we don't know who they are. So we're gonna be on the lookout for them. And we have considered sending hounds out to track them down. But otherwise, this video has been produced by AVNet Media, www.avnetmedia. Music tracks is by Sapphire Blues Band. The song is called The Jungle Sneak, and it kind of makes you feel like a monkey. You can eat bananas and pretend you're sneaking through the jungle on that. You can order that video from Amazon. AVNet Media is an HP business partner with over 15 years experience with HP engineering, directly as a high availability development engineer, and now we're doing a solo a business partner agreement with HP from the East Coast. So we hope that you enjoy the and helped. The video was helpful. We look forward to seeing you in the future.